Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1688. Frequently asked travel questions, part 2. So I can't remember what ones we did last night. Last night we did travel insurance. We did passport versus passport book versus passport card. What to do if you miss a flight. What else did we do? I think that was all we got through. Yeah, I think that was all we got through. But I do have a question that came in from a viewer. Their question, hang on, I've got to bring it up so I can read it exactly as it was put. So Kathy want to know, why do we buy new clothes for vacations when the people we meet never see our old ones? And I thought that is a really good question. And I thought, how many times have you got, we're going on this trip, so we're going to go get a whole new wardrobe? Or how many of you, like me, go to my wardrobe and go, okay, we're going on vacation. Yep, that'll do, and just start tossing clothes out onto the bed to pack. There are people who will go out there. They are the style people who like their fashion and everything else. They have to have the latest fashion for travel. And, there are people like that who have to have that brand new wardrobe when they go traveling. Other reasons that people will go out and buy new clothes for travel are because maybe some of the destinations they're visiting have a clothing, what am I trying to say? Clothing guidelines of what you need to wear when you are within that country. And if you're visiting certain buildings, maybe you have to have your head covered. Maybe your shoulders need to be covered. For women, maybe their knees need to be covered, even for men in some places. So you need to get the longer pants so that your knees are not showing. In some places, women have to be covered from head to toe. So, you've got to know the destination you're going to. And so you may be looking in your closet and dress code. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. They may have a dress code. So you need to think ahead. Where am I going? What excursions am I doing? Are there dress codes required to go to these things? If you're going on a cruise ship requires just a little bit different type of clothing because you're going to be on a ship. You're going to be out at sea at night where the temperature drops down. So you got to make sure you have that windbreaker or a really good shawl with you. They may have 4 more nights on board. So maybe like me, I basically live in t-shirt and sweatpants and yoga pants and yoga shorts. If it's stretchy, I'm happy. Stretchy and comfortable. So now here's Helen's little fashion tip. As you can see, I'm a t-shirt wearer and I wear sweatpants and yoga pants or yoga shorts. That's basically my wardrobe. So when we first started cruising and we had to do these 4 more night things, I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Brad was really easy. He had a nice pair of dress pants. They were black dress pants, and he took 1 white shirt with him and 2 ties. And then he had a pullover vest that he would put on over top. So he kind of got away with not having to have a jacket. And that was his formal attire. Excuse me. Mine was, you'll laugh at this one. I had boot-flared yoga pants on and a sparkly shirt. And I would take a couple of tops with me. One was sparkly, and what was the other one? I can't remember what the other one was. And then I had boots that had just a little heel on them. That was my formal nightwear. Sometimes you get away with things, and so people are like, but there are cruise lines out there where it is what they call country club casual, and country club casual is like polo shirts, a pair of khakis, for dinner, or a button-down shirt without a tie, things like just general slightly not casual, but a little more than casual. And then the woman, it's like a dress, or maybe a pair of dress pants and a shirt, and a blouse, something like that. So it's just country club casual. If you're not sure what that is, go to a golf course and walk around and see what they're wearing. Polo shirts, perfectly acceptable. So, there's certain, so you have to look to see what are the dress codes. When we went to Europe in December of 2011, we were going over there to do a river cruise for the Christmas market cruises. Now, we had lived in Virginia, so yes, we had all of our winter woolies and all of our winter clothes and everything, but they were very bulky. So that was another reason. So then I got online. I found a really great place that had, in fact, I just came back in from a walk, and I have the jacket that I purchased just for that trip because it could fold up small and it was lined. And so it kept me warm, and I just dressed in layers. So I had, like the thermal underwear with us. I had long sleeve t-shirts. We didn't really have formal night on board the ship. It was a casual place, and I had jeans on. I had jeans, not yoga pants. I had jeans on this trip. But we were able to take those, and we were able to dress in layers. So you'd start off with your thermal underwear, then you'd have your shirt on for the day, whether it was a long sleeve t-shirt or I just wore long sleeve t-shirts. Then I'd have like a sweatshirt I'd put on, and then I'd have this jacket thing that I'd put on, and I had my gloves and my hat and my scarf with me, and I was perfectly fine. And I had my boots with me, and these were my tramping boots because they were waterproof, and some places we went had snow. So had to be prepared, and I could wear those in the snow. And those ones I actually wore on the plane because the bulky footwear I like to wear on the plane rather than pack. And then I had a couple of slip-on shoes to wear on board the ship when we're on board the river ship. And so it was, so sometimes you do have to go and purchase clothes for travel based on where you're going. Maybe you're somebody who lives in a cooler area where it's nice and cool year round. It doesn't really get hot or anything. And suddenly you're going down to like the Caribbean in the middle of summer where it's hot and it's humid. And yes, you will require a different set of clothing for that, shorts, t-shirts, tank tops, that sort of thing. And maybe you don't have any in your closet. So, maybe it's the reverse. You live down there and where it's always warm, it's always hot. So you're always walking around in t-shirts and tank tops and shorts or capris. And then all of a sudden it's sort of like, oh, we're going somewhere where it gets cold. Now you have to go buy some clothes to help with the cold. Or maybe you're going down to the South Pacific, to the Cook Islands or Fiji or Hawaii or Tahiti or somewhere like that. And you need a different set of, most people wear beachwear around there. So you need to have that beachy look, and maybe you're not from an area that has beaches. So you've got no idea what that is. So now all of a sudden you've got swimsuits, and you've got the wraps that go over the swimsuits. And there are still dress codes required. There was one cruise line, they kind of had to put a dress code thing on at the door before you went in, because we went in one night and we're on one tier and we're looking down at the floor below us, which was the main area of the dining room. And there was a woman sitting there in her bikini. This is at dinner. Okay. So we're like 7:00 at night. She is in her bikini, and she had a crocheted cover up over top, which you could see straight through anyway, because if you think crochet, and it wasn't the tight crochet, it was more of the string type of crochet, but she had a cover up on with a bikini on underneath. And she really didn't have a body that was suitable for a bikini. And she was sitting at the table at dinner like that and getting up and walking around and had flip-flops on her feet. And I'm like, yeah, that's taking the casual dress code just a little too far. So sometimes you do have to go shopping for new clothes because your wardrobe may not have what you need to go to the destination you're going to, or the dress code that is required on board the ship, or maybe at the resort, or in the place that you're going to. Maybe you're from those hot places where you're always walking around in shorts, t-shirts, tank tops, capris, that sort of stuff, but you're going to somewhere where you've got to be covered basically from the shoulder, from the neck down. For women, cover up the ankles and all that as well. And so there's some strange clothing textures that you have to get used to. Yeah, so I remember, I know that when I get here in the summertime, when it gets into triple digits Fahrenheit here in summertime in Arizona, I'm in yoga shorts and t-shirt, like literally all day. And I do have tank tops as well. I do have tank tops. I do not go on a Zoom call with a tank top on, though. I do not go walking outside in a tank top. I always put t-shirts on for that. But basically, if I'm inside, when I was inside the RV or here inside the house, I have like tank top dress. I have tank tops that come down to like mid-thigh, and I'll put a pair of yoga shorts on underneath that, or I won't put any yoga shorts on at all. I'll just wear it like a little mini dress, but nobody's going to see me anyway because I'm inside my house. But I have a pair of yoga shorts handy if somebody comes to the door, that sort of thing. So I can get away with wearing it as a dress. I'm just not comfortable being in public with it as a dress. So, and the tank tops I had ordered were actually these mid-thigh dresses. So it was kind of interesting. But yeah, so I wear as little as I can during the summer months because of the heat. So that was a really good question, Kathy. You had to give it a lot of thought on that one. So another question that is the another one. What should I pack? Well, we've just been talking about wardrobe and closets and things. Deciding what to pack is, if you are going on a cruise, the cruise lines always have somewhere in their information on their website, they will have the dress code. What is acceptable, what's not, what's acceptable during the day in the dining rooms or in the buffet area, what's acceptable in the evenings, if they're going to have a formal night, and they will actually describe out what their formal night is so that you know what the dress code is for that. So you do have those dress codes there. If you're going to an all-inclusive resort, they may also have on there what the dress code is for their resort. Some resorts do have dress codes. Some are a little more loose than others on that thing. Also too, looking at the climate, where are you going? Are you going from summer to winter, from winter to summer? So, you've kind of got to pack. If you're going from winter to summer or summer to winter, you kind of have to pack for that too, because if you're going from summer to winter, make sure that you have handy and close at hand something that you can put on that will keep you warm when you get off the plane at your destination. So what do you have to pack? Depends on where you're going and what you're doing. So we just talked about buying, going out and why people buy new clothes. It's the same thing with packing lists and all that. Cruise lines, all-inclusive resorts will tell you what sort of clothes are acceptable. Some countries will have their dress code posted as to what is acceptable and what's not, especially if you're going to go into any religious buildings or anything else. It does head cover. And I have the I don't have one down here. No, I don't. But I have my what are they called? Pajama. The $10 shawls that you can buy in the airport. Those are always great on a plane because you can throw them around your shoulders and they keep you nice and warm. But they're so versatile that if you're going to somewhere and you got to have, and I always keep one in my day pack as well because they pack up really small. If I'm going to we end up going to Cathedral where a woman has to cover her head, I just pull that out, and it might be bright pink, but it's a head covering. Usually I'll take one with in my day pack. I usually don't keep the bright pink one, maybe the turquoise one, but I usually have the dark purple one in there. So I can use that as a head covering if needed. So look ahead. Where are you going? Does the country have a dress code for their culture? Do they not have a dress code? Is it swimsuits and shorts the whole time, or is it something a little more formal that you need? So, really good question. You guys come up with some great questions. What are hotels like? Well, I will tell you right now that if you go to, I personally have found that when I travel in Europe, if you're staying at a 3-star hotel, it's equivalent to a 4-star hotel here in the States, or even a 4-star hotel is equivalent in Europe is equivalent to a 5-star hotel here. So you can imagine the levels of luxury that they have in some countries. And we've stayed at some great hotels that were only 3 or 4 stars in Europe and had a blast. We had we stayed at the Intercontinental. We stayed at in Prague, and it was a great location. We walked down their equivalent of Rodeo Drive in Prague. We walked down the street, and there's all these big designer stores and all the big names. And Brad and I called it the Rodeo Drive of Prague because it was all the big names like Gucci and Coach and Yves Saint Laurent and all of those sorts of big names. They all had their own individual stores. And we walked down that street, and all of a sudden we were in the square where one of the Christmas markets were. And it was one closest to us. And that's when we figured out, we shouldn't have had dinner in the hotel. We could have come down to the Christmas market and had dinner. And that's when we found out that in the evenings in Christmas markets, they have a lot more booths that are open. There's a lot of different food options. And I said to Brad, well, we haven't had dessert yet. So we could try some local cuisine and have dessert. So we had dessert down at the Christmas market. And then it was just a block to walk back. It was a great hotel. The rooms were smaller than what they are here in the US, which was fine. I mean, we were only there for a couple of nights. We didn't have to unpack or anything. And it was just a bed and a plate. And, when you're traveling to different countries, you really just want a place that's got a bed and a bathroom. And that's basically all you need because you're only there to sleep, have a change of clothes, and head out again. When we were in Budapest, we were at the courtyard, which was in the downtown area. And our window, we had the street that came across here. Then we had a street directly across from our window. And that street directly across from our window, there was a McDonald's on the corner in the building. And we watched a lot of people walking in and out of that thing. But the trams went down there, and the tram depot was down that street. And we could watch the trams coming out and starting their routes. And the buses also went down there as well. And then down on the corner, we could see the entry into the train station for their metro system. And we bought a Budapest 72-hour card. And what this card allowed us to do was to travel anywhere in Budapest that we wanted to go on their public transportation, their buses, their trains, and their trams. We could go anywhere within the city limits and even up onto the on both sides of the river. We could go anywhere on that. And so we were able to go and visit different sites and things. It also gave us discounts into some of the museums and art galleries where whether you've got to pay an entry fee. There were some places that we were able to get in for free because we had this card, but a lot of things were discounts. And then there were different places that you could go shopping at or go and have a meal at, and you'd get a discount if you showed the card. So it was really well, I mean, even just for the transportation side of it, it was well worth paying, I want to say it was like 30 euros for 72 hours unlimited transportation. It was awesome. It was a really great deal. What was the question? Oh, yeah, hotels. And that hotel, of course, being a Courtyard by Marriott. Marriott Courtyard's pretty much the same worldwide. This one was a lot nicer than a lot of the ones that I've seen in the States, though. The ones that I'd stayed in the States, this was a lot nicer. They had a great breakfast buffet on in the mornings. Went down there and would have breakfast down there, and they had this beautiful buffet. And yeah, we enjoyed our breakfast down there. In the evenings, we'd catch the train, their metro system down to the station closest to the square where the Christmas market was, and we'd go and have dinner in the Christmas market that night. And that's when all the locals were there. All the locals were out there. A lot more booths were open, and a lot of food booths were open. A lot more food booths were open as well too. They had great meals down there. But I will tell you, that was the best white chocolate apple strudel I had ever had, and I had it the 3 nights that we went down to the Christmas market. I had it every night. It was so good, and I've never found another apple strudel even close to it. But it was really good. And I didn't share, so Brad had to go get his own because I wouldn't let him taste it. I just told him it was really good. And I'm not a white chocolate fan. So there you go. Let's see, hotels. Yes, so you'll find that some of the hotels are very much of the same, a higher standard than back here in the States. So 4-star here in the States would be equivalent to a 3-star over in Europe. In the places that we have stayed, that's what we have found. Some of my clients have come back and said the same thing as well. Down in New Zealand, not so much the hotels you get in the main city areas and things, but if you get out into the suburbs or into the smaller towns and things, they have motels. Motels in New Zealand are usually mom and pop places. They're not a chain. They all have external accesses. And you go in and they're like a little mini apartment. You've got, they may be a studio apartment where you've got the bed, the living room area, and the kitchen area all in one room with the bathroom by itself. You may go in there. There might be 1 or 2 bedrooms. We had, when we traveled, and we stayed in one. Oh my gosh, this was funny. We were in Dunedin, and we had pre-booked. Mum and Dad had gone through and pre-booked, and they have this. It's like the AAA Diamond Guide that you can get. So here in the States, you got the American Automobile Association. In New Zealand, we have the same thing, but they also have this one that's called, I think it was Qualmark. It's called. And they basically are like the little AAA guides. You go to the town, here's all the hotels and motels that are listed in that town with their rankings by the AAA, or in this case, the Qualmark. And so Mum and Dad did, we did the equivalent to a 3-star in the Qualmark book. And which meant it was a nice hotel and had all the, and it listed what amenities it had and all that. And all the places that we had kitchens. So you had a kitchen area. Some had a full stove and oven. Some just had a cooktop in them. But all of them had refrigerators, so we could go out, buy food during the day, come back, and we would have food for breakfast, food for dinner, that sort of thing. We went to this one in Dunedin. It looked nice when we drove in. It was a 2-bedroom. And it turned out that it was a 2-story, which was perfectly fine. So downstairs, it had the kitchen area. It had a little dining area with a table and 4 chairs. Then it had the sitting area, which was actually 2 twin bed. Oh no, one was a couch and one was a twin bed down there. And then you went upstairs, and there was a room with a king bed and a room with two queens. I think the other one had two queens. Yes, but my father sent a letter to the Qualcomm, the Qualmark people afterwards, stating that there was absolutely no way that this place was a equivalent of a 3-star. We went in there. The carpet was worn. You're going up the stairs, you could see the back of the carpet. It was all worn and everything else. When you go into a hotel, they usually give you into a motel in New Zealand, they usually give you a small container of milk to go with all your tea and coffee and everything else. And my mum got this little silver jug. And it was, if you think of creamer, like if you're at a restaurant here in the States and they give you the maple syrup and you got that little silver jug of maple syrup, that's how much milk we got given for the 4 of us for tea and coffee. So there was that. And my dad had us taking photographs of everything. We sat on the couch and almost ended up on the floor because the springs had gone so much in the couch that you had to like push on the edge of the couch to stop yourself falling into the couch. The window wasn't properly secured. The whole frame of the window was almost falling out. This place was terrible. It was, and I said to Brad, I looked at him and I said, "This is almost as bad as the what was it? The Holiday Inn that we stayed in Atlantic City." And this place was almost that bad. I mean, so the Atlantic City story is that Brad surprised me with a trip to Atlantic City when we were living in Northern Virginia. And he had me he wanted me to cover my eyes every time we saw road signs, but he totally forgot to tell that because it was a surprise trip and it was Valentine's weekend. And so we're driving down there. We get there. We get to the Caesars Hotel, which is where we were supposed to be staying. He goes up and goes to check in. They had no record of our reservation. They had a reservation starting the following night, not the Friday. And we were there Friday night, Saturday night, and driving home Sunday. And he said to them, he says, "No, my reservation's for Friday night, Saturday night." And they said, "No, we've got you in for Saturday night, Sunday night." Now, my husband did not make the reservation. He called his mother's travel agency in LA and had them make the reservation. Spoke to one of the girls that worked there and had her make the reservations for us. And so he says, "No." And she said, "Well, can we move it so it's Friday night, Saturday night?" "Oh, no, we're sold out tonight." And he's like, "Okay, what other hotels?" "Well, you need to call this number." So he called the number. There was one room in the entire Atlantic City that had a place available. It was at a Holiday Inn. We get there. We check it, and the Caesars said, "We're quite happy to take you tomorrow night. We can book you in tomorrow. We'll still hold your reservation for tomorrow. You can come check in tomorrow." So everything was fine. And so we went to this Holiday Inn. I have never been in a hotel so bad. I've been in some dodgy places and some dodgy hotels. This one was like the worst I have ever been in, and the one in Dunedin was not far off it. And now this is just a hotel with a regular room, bed sitting. This one had 2 double beds in it. So that was a big no-no to start with. So I looked at the sheets and thought, I don't even know if they're clean. Could not tell if the sheets were clean or not. I walk into the bathroom and the towels are nicely folded on the thing, but there's this great big long black hair that was draped over one of the towels. And I was like, oh God, no. And I looked at the bath and I'm like, I don't even know when that was last cleaned. It didn't look like it had been cleaned in ages. We had nowhere else to stay in Atlantic City. This was the last room. Brad even tried calling around other hotels instead of calling the Central Hotel Service. But the Central Hotel Service booked us in for 2 nights at the Holiday Inn, and we had only asked for 1 night. And so then we had to fight them to get the feedback for the following night. We went down to Brad, and so we stayed in this hotel. I was very suspect about everything. We stayed in the hotel, and then the next morning we went down to breakfast, and it took them 10 minutes. And this place wasn't even full. There was about five to 7 tables that were occupied when we arrived. So it wasn't very full. That should have been our clue. Because we were down there like 7 o'clock in the morning. We were like getting out of this place as quick as possible. That should have been a clue. And so they sat us down. It was 10 minutes before the waitress came out to take our order. Another 20 minutes later, we still did not have our food. We're down to 3 tables that were left by this point. And we still did not have it. And all we'd ordered was pancakes. So we called the manager out. We asked for the manager to come over. And I said to them, I said, look, it took us 10 minutes before we got service. We don't even have our orange juices yet. We have no silverware. And we asked for pancakes and we still don't have. Oh, yes, well, the short cook is backed up with orders. I said, there are 3 tables occupied and you guys don't offer room service. I said, if you like, I will go into the kitchen. I said, I am food safety certified. I will go into the kitchen and I will make my own pancakes. Oh, no, we'll have them out for you in 5 minutes. I said, you have 5 minutes to get the stuff on the table or we walk. And so she's like, okay. And so she goes back in. 5 minutes later, Brad and I got up and walked out. And she's like running with, your food's just coming, nope, you guys have had, we've been here 35 minutes and we've had no food. We don't even have our drinks. We don't have our silverware. We're gone. And we told them. And so we went over to Caesars and said, can you guys either hold our luggage or check? Oh, we have a room available for you right now. So we get into that room. Very nice room. Totally different. You could tell there was nice clean sheets on the bed. The room had been cleaned. The bathroom was definitely nice and clean and sparkly and everything else. And then we were getting ready to go over to one of the other hotels where they had a comedy show on that we had booked in to see. And if anybody remembers back to the late 70s when they had the Good Times on and the guy that played JJ, he was our MC for the evening. And I can't remember his name, but if you remember back to Good Times and the tall, skinny black guy who played JJ, he was our MC for the evening. It was hilarious. We had 10 different comedians come out during the whole show. It was absolutely brilliant. And then we walked along the boardwalk as well to get from the different hotels. Before we left, our bathroom toilet blocked up. So we told them that the toilet was blocked up and that we were heading out. So they had this amount of time to come in and fix it. We get back at midnight, toilet's still blocked. We called down to the desk and tell them the toilet's still blocked. We called you guys at this time. You said you'd have it fixed. We told you we're going to do, and it's still blocked. Either give us another room or get somebody up here in the next 5 minutes. We had somebody there in 3 minutes who unblocked our toilet and went. So when it came to doing the comment card, I filled it all out. I told the story about the thing. They then gave us another a certificate for another night free. So okay, we'll come back. But I will tell you this: they had the most amazing restaurant there. It was just their cafe style place that they had, and I'd ordered a BLT. I love BLTs. I'd ordered a BLT that day, and for dessert, I had ordered one of those tarts that have the Boston cream, the custard thing in it with the fruit on top and all glazed. I'd ordered one of those for dessert, and so we're sitting there and. The waiter was from Egypt. He was amazing. His section in the entire restaurant was the busiest section. And he still had time to not only keep up with the service of everybody, but to stop and have a little chit chat with everybody and see how they were doing and everything else. And he comes out and he says, look, I know you ordered this. He said, and our apologies, but when we placed the order, they didn't tell us that we were out of them. But the chef is making one special for you right now. It's going to take about 20 minutes. Is that okay? And I said, it's fine. We weren't in any rush. We said, fine. That's not a problem. He says, oh, thank you so much. And of course, he found out I was from New Zealand. So we kind of chatted backwards and forwards. But then what happened was that was in February. We came back in April for our free night. And it's raining outside. So we came back in April for our free night. We got our room. Everything was perfect that visit. Nothing to complain about. And we says, let's go back to the restaurant. So we went back to that restaurant because it had really good food. And our waiter ended up being this Egyptian guy again. They had changed where the different stations were. And it ended up being the same Egyptian guy. He goes, oh, Miss New Zealand, you're back again. And I just looked at him and went, oh my gosh, how many hundreds or maybe thousands of people have been through that restaurant since we were there 2 months ago, 60 days. How many people has he served during that time? And he would work breakfast, lunch, and dinner. During that time, had he served and he remembered me. He said, do you want that fruit? He said, would you like the fruit tart for dinner? And I'll go make sure the chef's got one ready for you right now. They even comped us the dessert. They comped me my entire meal the previous time. And because of the screw up from the chef, they put it on him. But they blamed the chef for it. So they comped my entire meal last time. And so he said, would you like me to go and see if the chef's got one of those fruit tarts for you again? I'm like, looking at Brad's looking at me. We're like, that would be lovely. Thank you. He comes and he says, okay, what else can I get you? Let me go get the order in so they can start preparing that. I'll check on the tart and I'll be back in with your drinks in a moment. And 5 minutes later, he was back with our drinks. Yes, they still have the fruit tart. Would you like one? I says, absolutely. He says, I'm putting your name on it right now. 60 days since we'd last been there, and this guy remembered me, and he serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner on a daily basis. His section is the busiest section in the restaurant because we would sit there and watch what was going on at the thing. And he was on the ball with his service was impeccable. And this is just a regular diner restaurant in the middle of a casino in Atlantic City. And this guy's service was impeccable. You could not fault his service at all. He was on top of things. If you waved him, he would say, be right there. He had finished up doing what he was doing. He'd come over, see what you wanted. He would check on other tables on the way back. Everybody's orders came out on time. And he was the fullest section. He had the fullest section of the entire restaurant. So both times we tipped him really well. So, but yeah, 60 days and he still only remembered who we were. Miss New Zealand, he called me. So anyway, I have to fly because I got to go I got to go do some work now. So you guys have a super fantastic sparkling evening. If you have a travel question, please send it to us. And thank you, Kathy, for the question on why people have to go buy new wardrobes when they go traveling, new clothes when they go traveling when people haven't seen the old ones. That was a really good question. So go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey, konera.